Hello everybody, it's Connie with simplysimplestamping.com. Thank you guys so much for joining me for another simple stamping video. Hey, today we're going to be working on a one sheet wonder project. I know how much you guys love your one sheet wonders. I do too. And this one we're going to be creating with one piece of the Gingham Gala Designer Series paper. One little 6x6 piece, and we're going to create 3 great friendship cards. I love that bright daisy, and I think you will too. Before we get started though, do me a favor, click that big red subscribe button so that you can be up to date whenever I post a new video. And you know what, while you're there, ring that bell too. That way YouTube will give you a notification next time I'm on. But I say we get to stamping some simple cards, so let's go. I'm going to be using the Life is Grand Cling Stamp. I love this one. I love the built-in shading that comes in the words. We're going to create Hello Dear Friend and Life is Grand with You. Let's go ahead and cover all the cardstock you need to create the cards. Remember, we are making 3 cards, so I have a lot of cardstock here. We're going to start with our Night of Navy. That is 8.5 inches by 11 inches. I have a piece of Whisper White thick cardstock, 8.5 by 5.5. Let's see, I've got some Daffodil Delight. I have 3 pieces here. These are each 5.5 inches by 2 3/4 inches. For the insides of my card, I have 2 pieces of Whisper White, 3 1/4 inch by 5 inch. The star of the show is the Gingham Gala Designer Series paper. This comes 6x6, and we're going to use every last little bit of that paper. I'm also going to be using the Night of Navy gingham ribbon. I love this. I've got 2 kind of more medium-sized, kind of just knot bows, and then a little tiny one. We're going to begin with our Night of Navy cardstock. And the first thing I want to do is I need to cut 1/2 inch off of this. So I'm going to take that cutting blade, I'm going to move it down. There's my 1/2 inch mark. Let's place our Night of Navy cardstock there. I'm going to hold on to it with the bar, and we're going to cut that 1/2 inch off. Now, since I've got it here, I also need to cut it down to 5.5 inches. So let's go ahead and give that a cut. I'm going to move that cutting blade out of the way because I need to score this. And I'm going to score it at 4 1/4 inch. Now, let's rotate this around and let's cut it at 5.5 inches. There's that scoring blade. Get that out of the way. Here we go. So let me show you what we have. When we fold it, we have this little opening here, and we now have 2 card bases to work with. I'm going to take that Whisper White thick, and let's give that a score at 4 1/4 inch. And that takes care of our 3rd card base. Now let's go ahead and cut our Designer Series paper. We're going to start by cutting it in half at 3 inches. So those are both 3x6. Let me set this one down. I'll rotate this one here, and we'll cut it. So we'll now have 3 inches by 3 inches, and I've got 2 of those, 1 for each card. Now, this piece that's remaining, we're going to cut it down to 5.5 inches. It's just going to be easier to work with. So this is truly a scrap. Maybe you can find a good use for it, but I'm not today. We're going to rotate this, and now I want to cut 4 strips that are 1/2 inch by 5.5 inches. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now that leaves me this little strip, and we're going to be using all of those pieces. So there are all of our Designer Series pieces all cut. It's time to stamp. I'm going to be using a Night of Navy ink pad today, and actually that's the only ink color I'm going to be using, so that makes it nice and easy. Let's come in with our Hello Dear Friend. When you ink up this stamp, don't tap really hard. We don't want to get ink down into all that detail, so we want to make sure we keep it kind of light. I'm going to stamp this right down here at the bottom. There we go. We're going to repeat that now here on our other designer paper. I now have the 2 inserts that will go inside the card. So I'm going to say, sending lots of love your way, and I'm just going to stamp that here at the top. I have that stamped. Now let's come in with our last card, And for this sentiment, I want to stamp off to the right, and I'm going to basically kind of line things up here in the middle. Now for the inside, I'm going to come back in with the same sentiment. And with that, all of our stamping is done. Now we're going to do some punching. I have got the 3/4 inch circle punch, and I want to come up here in this corner of our stamped cardstock, and I want to punch that. Let's repeat that here. Don't worry, we'll be covering it up. You won't see it, but you do want to keep it up close to that top corner. Next, we're going to come in with the daisy punch, and we'll be punching out 6 daisies. So we'll get 2 out of each piece of cardstock. We want to adhere the daisies together, so we are just simply going to put some snail in the middle. Kind of put our petals a little skiwampus there. That way they show off the bottom layer. Let's repeat that with the other daisies. You notice on my circles, I have a small gingham and a large gingham. I'm actually going to put the adhesive on the small gingham so that the larger gingham will show. So we're going to attach a circle there and a circle there. And I want to take this last piece that we had up. We're going to get 1 more circle. Again, not to worry, we'll cover that up. But for this flower, I want the small gingham to show. Now remember, this is making 2. I'm going to just make 1 because they will be identical. I'm going to start with my sentiment, and when I adhere that, I want to line it up here on both sides. I've got probably about 1 inch or so down here at the bottom. I'm going to take 2 of my strips, and I'm going to put the adhesive on the small gingham side because I want the wider gingham to show. I'll adhere 1 right here on the inside over to the right. I'll take the other one and I'll adhere it all the way over to the left. I have adhesive on the back of my sentiment, and I can adhere that over to the right side. You can see it just centers up on all 4 sides. Now those 3 daisies, we want to take the small daisy one. Let me set that one off to the side because this card is going to use the one with the larger gingham inside. Let's attach this just with some snail adhesive. And I want you to see it's going to come right to the edge of the card, but I kind of like how that hangs off. I think it gives it nice dimension. Now that's pretty, but it would be even prettier with this gingham ribbon. So I'm going to bring in a mini glue dot. I'm just going to press my gingham ribbon. This is also in Night of Navy, so it complements the card really nice. But can you see what a difference that little bit of ribbon makes? Such a great card. Now, we're going to repeat that with the other card. There we go. Yep, both of those are ready. Now let's work on our final card. Now remember those 2 little navy strips that we cut off the side of the previous card? We're going to take this remaining designer series paper. I find it to be easier to add adhesive to the back of the designer series paper. That way I can just bring it over. I just want just a little hair of that navy to show. And now the other side, and just make it the same on both sides. I'm placing adhesive on the back of this. Now, that little punch, we want that over to the left side so that we can cover it. So you can see we can just add that right underneath our sentiment. And now for our final daisy, adhesive on the back there. And we can cover that up. I'm going to take that last little gingham knot, put it on with a mini glue dot right there in the center of my little daisy. I thought I would also share with you, I created the exact same cards, only I used the Balmy Blue Gingham Gala Designer Series paper, and I thought that turned out really sweet as well. I just used the Whisper White for my daisies, and I thought that little gingham just really popped. I loved this color combination as well. There we go. Which one's your favorite? Do you like the Daffodil Delight or the Balmy Blue? I think they're both really, really sweet cards. And guys, what's not to love about a one-sheet wonder? Now, listen, I want to give you a little heads up that I have over at simplysimplestamping.com a free download so that you can grab the diagram of how I cut that designer series paper and then the measurements for my card. Let me tell you how to find that. Head over to simplysimplestamping.com and just look for the January 26th 2019 blog post. There's going to be a spot there where you can download the diagram and the information. And if you'd like to see the complete supply list, I'll have that there for you too. And then if you need to order any of the supplies to create all of these great cards, you can just click a pick. That's going to take you right to my online store and you can order what you need. Guys, I love being your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I love sending you little freebies when you use the host code too. So make sure you grab the host code for the month. All right. Hey, that is it for me today. Thank you again so much for being here. Thank you for subscribing and ringing the bell so that you can be up to date whenever I post my next video. Have a fabulous day, my friends, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.